Hey, welcome to a new video. In a world where science and tech have unraveled many mysteries, there's still events that governments can't explain. The Myy Island Incident refers to an alleged UFO sighting. The subsequent events took place in 1947 near Myy Island, located in Puget Sound, Washington, USA. It's often considered one of the earliest modern incidents related to UFOs in American history, just a few days before the more well-known Roswell Incident. On June 21, 1947, Harold Doll, a local harbor worker, claimed to have seen 6 identified flying objects while he was on his boat. According to Harold's account, one of the UFOs emitted a substance that descended onto his boat, injuring his son and killing their dog. He also said that a man in a dark suit visited him a day later and warned him not to talk about the incident. Harold shared his story with his supervisor, Fred Chrisman, who, in turn, contacted 2 investigators from the magazine Amazing Stories, Ray Palmer and Kenneth Arnold. On June 25, 1947, Kenneth, Harold, and Fred met to discuss the incident. Shortly after their meeting, Kenneth would have his own famous sighting of 9 unidentified objects flying near Mount Rainier.
The Constantine Ring is a Roman gold ring, believed to have inspired J.R.R. Tolkien's iconic One Ring from his fantasy novels. The story dates back over 1600 years, when a Roman named Sylvanus visited the Temple of Nodens in Gloucestershire, England. After his gold ring was stolen, a curse was placed on it, causing ill health to anyone who wears it. The ring itself is an impressive piece of craftsmanship. It's quite large, possibly meant to be worn on a thumb, and features 10 golden strands engraved on the image of the Roman goddess Venus. However, the fate of the ring remained unknown for centuries, until it was discovered in 1785 in a field near Silchester, England. The backstory has given the ring a sinister reputation, leaving many to wonder if wearing it is safe.
The crew of the USS Theodore Roosevelt, a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier of the United States Navy, observed multiple UFOs in 2014 and 2015. The incidents gained more attention when the story was revealed to the public in December 2017 by the New York Times and the Washington Post. These reports included videos captured by Navy pilots depicting encounters with unidentified objects. These videos, known as the FLIR 1, Gimbal, and Go Fast videos, were later officially released by the U.S. Department of Defense in 2020. After the public disclosure, the U.S. government acknowledged the existence of the AATIP program, a secret initiative with the DIA that investigated UFO sightings. The AATIP, active from 2007 to 2012, aimed to assess potential encounters with unidentified aerial phenomena. What do you think the aircraft carrier's crew saw up in the sky? Let me know in the comments.
The Swans Devil is a cursed sculpture said to have a dark history in Swansea, Wales. The sculpture, also known as Old Nick, is a 10-foot or 3-meter-high wood carving of the devil. It was created by an architect whose designs were intended for St. Mary's Church. According to local legend, the Swansea Devil is responsible for destruction of a church. The story goes that the sculpture was placed in the church late in the 19th century, and shortly thereafter, the church was struck by lightning and burned down. The incident led to the belief that the sculpture was cursed. Over the years, the Swansea Devil has gained notoriety and become the subject of urban myths and folklore. It's claimed that anyone who owns or comes into contact with the sculpture will be plagued by misfortune and bad luck. Some people claim to have experienced strange events or negative occurrences after interacting with the sculpture. The Swansea Devil is now housed in the Swansea Museum, where it can be viewed by the public.
The island of Bera was said to be off the north coast of Yucatan Peninsula in the Gulf of Mexico, according to several old maps. There were even recorded sightings of passing ships, so there was no reason to doubt whether or not the island existed. The first time the island was mentioned was in 1539 by the Spanish cartographer Alonso de Santa Cruz, and it was said that the island is an incredible 80 square kilometers in size. However, when the island was searched for in 1997, it couldn't be found. In 2009, an extensive search was conducted by the government of Mexico, but the huge island seemed to have completely disappeared. One explanation could be that the early Spanish cartographers had made a mistake. Other theories include the shifting of the ocean floor, rising sea levels, or even the destruction of the island by the United States CIA because oil reserves were thought to be nearby. The Landrum Incident is a highly controversial UFO encounter that occurred on December 29, 1980, near Huffman, Texas, USA. The incident involved Betty Cash, Vicki Landrum, and her 7-year-old grandson Colby. This event is considered one of the most significant cases of UFO-related radiation sickness. On that evening, the three of them were driving in a car when they encountered a large diamond-shaped object hovering above the road. The object was described as emitting flames and intense heat, making their car's windshield feel hot. The witnesses reported that the object was accompanied by several military helicopters. Terrified, all three of them exited their car to get a closer look at the object. They claim that the intense heat penetrated the car's metal body, causing burns on their skin. After a few minutes later, the object and the helicopters departed, leaving the witnesses frightened and exhibiting symptoms of radiation sickness. Following the incident, Betty and Vicky experienced various health issues, including nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and hair loss. They sought medical help, and their conditions were later diagnosed as acute radiation syndrome. Colby also experienced similar symptoms, albeit to a lesser extent. The U.S. Army and Air Force initially denied any involvement in the incident, but investigations revealed that military helicopters were indeed in the area that night.
The Okiku Doll, also known as the Haunted Doll of Hokkaido, is a creepy Japanese doll, said to grow human hair. According to legend, the doll originally belonged to a young girl named Okiku. The girl died at a young age, and her spirit is said to inhabit the doll. The most eerie aspect of the Okiku doll is its hair, which is said to grow on its own. The doll's hair was originally shoulder length, but it continues to grow. It's said to grow until it reaches the knees and then stops, regardless of how often it's cut. Some people believe that the hair growing from the doll is actually the child's own hair. The Okiku doll is currently located in the Manenji Temple in Iwamiza City, Hokkaido, Japan. It's become a popular attraction and has garnered international attention due to its creepy reputation. Visitors are allowed to view the doll in the temple, although photography is usually not allowed.
The Kikura Lights Incident refers to a series of sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena that occurred over a two-night period in December 1978, near the town of Kikura in New Zealand. The sightings garnered significant attention due to the large number of witnesses, including experienced pilots and air traffic controllers, and the presence of photographic and radar evidence. The incident began on the evening of December 21, 1978. When a cargo plane operated by Safe Air reported seeing a series of strange lights in the sky. The lights were described as orange and white and moved in an unusual manner, sometimes appearing to merge and separate. Several crew members managed to capture some of the lights on camera. Shortly after the initial sighting, a commercial aircraft from Air New Zealand had a plane from the New Zealand Air Force that was dispatched to investigate. The pilots of these aircraft also reported seeing the lights and confirmed their unusual behavior. The strange aerial phenomenon was also observed and tracked on radar by both civilian and military radar systems. The New Zealand government eventually conducted an investigation known as the Eden Inquiry, which involved interviewing witnesses and analyzing available evidence.
Myrtles Plantation is a historic mansion located in St. Francisville, Louisiana, in the United States, known for its supernatural phenomena. One of the most famous legends of Myrtles Plantation revolves around a haunted mirror. It's said that the mirror hanging in the house holds the spirits of Sarah Woodruff and her two children who died in the house. According to the legend, at night when you look in the mirror, you can see reflections of handprints belonging to the spirits of Sarah and her children. Another popular legend is the story of Chloe, a slave who was allegedly involved in a poisoning incident. Chloe, who reportedly was the mistress of the plantation owner, is said to have poisoned a cake intended for his wife and daughters. However, her plan went awry, and instead of making them ill, it resulted in their deaths. Chloe's ghost is said to continue haunting the plantation today. Other reported paranormal events include staff members experiencing cold spots, hearing disembodied voices, and witnessing objects moving. The Rono Colony was one of the first English attempts to establish a colony in the New World on the coast of North America. The explorer John White had founded a colony on Roanoke Island of present-day North Carolina in 1587, and contained about 120 people. When John decided to get additional supplies, he was attacked by a French ship and was forced to return to England. When he returned 3 years later, the island was completely deserted. All the buildings had been pulled down by hand, and the only clue he could find was the word Croatoan carved into a tree. Several theories suggest that they were attacked by Spaniards or that the settlers were taken to a nearby island where they had joined a Native American tribe. Today, scientists still don't know exactly what happened to this lost colony. The Rendleshi Forest UFO Incident, also known as Britain's Roswell, is a famous and well-documented event that occurred in late December 1980 in Suffolk, England. Several personnel from the United States Air Force stationed at the RAF Woodbridge base witnessed the phenomenon firsthand. On the evening of December 26, 1980, the personnel of the U.S. Air Force Security reported strange lights in the nearby Rendlesham Forest.
The initial sighting was prompted by reports of unusual lights descending into the forest. Jim and John entered the forest to investigate and claimed to have encountered a triangular craft with bright lights. Jim reportedly approached the craft and touched its surface, noticing strange symbols engraved on it. The object then ascended and disappeared. The following night, on December 27th, more sightings occurred. Lieutenant Colonel Charles Holt and his team also witnessed strange lights in the forest that day. They observed a pulsating object emitting beams of light and displaying irregular movements, and Charles recorded the events on an audio tape. The Rendleshi Forest incident garnered attention when reports of the sightings and subsequent investigations leaked. Officially, the British Ministry of Defense classified the incident as unexplained.
Described as a shadowy figure dressed in a dark coat and a distinctive hat, the Hatman has become a prominent figure in sleep paralysis folklore around the world. Encounters with this man are often reported during the transitional phase between being awake and asleep, when people are falling asleep or waking up. He's typically depicted as a tall figure ranging from approximately 5 feet 11 inches to 10 feet tall, and his eyes can be described as bright red or deep pools of darkness. Some stories mention him carrying a golden pocket watch, while others describe him as misty rather than a solid figure. The only constant, however, is his distinctive attire, a coat resembling a trench coat and a hat that stands out. Interestingly, the man's behavior is notably different from other demons associated with sleep paralysis. He's often depicted as silently observing the person standing in a corner of the room, or hovering closely above their chest. Appearances of the man have led them to associate him with shadow people. Others believe he manifests in real life, as seen in this clip where he appears in the reflection of a mirror.
The Dyatlov Pass incident refers to the mysterious and tragic deaths of 9 experienced hikers in the Ural Mountains of Russia in February 1959. The hiking group, consisting of 8 men and 2 women, was in the northern part of the Soviet Union. They embarked on an expedition to reach the summit of Otertin, a mountain in the Ural Mountains. However, when they did not return as planned, a search and rescue operation was initiated. Several days later, the hikers' bodies were discovered in a remote area, scattered over a distance of about half a mile or a kilometer. The bodies exhibited unusual injuries, including broken ribs, a skull fracture, and one of the victims was missing her tongue. Their tent was reported to have been torn open from the inside, suggesting they had tried to flee in panic. Footprints in the snow indicated that some of the hikers had fled barefoot or only in socks. Despite the freezing cold, the Russian government's investigation also revealed the presence of radiation on some of the hikers' clothing. What on earth happened to them? What do you think?
The Samora Incident, also known as the Lonnie Zamora sighting, is an alleged UFO sighting that occurred on April 24, 1964, near Socorro in New Mexico. Lonnie Zamora was a police officer who reported seeing a strange craft and encountered 2 individuals near the object. The incident garnered significant attention from the media, UFO researchers, and the U.S. Air Force's Project Blue Book. According to Zamora's account, he heard a loud roar and saw a flame in the sky while chasing a speeding car. He then observed a shiny O-shaped object on the ground with 2 figures nearby. Lonnie described the object as white and made of aluminum. He also reported seeing a blue and orange flame beneath the object before it ascended into the sky and quickly flew away. Some theories suggest that Lonnie may have witnessed a mirage of the star Canopus, or the testing of a lunar landing module by White Sands missile range personnel. Others propose that it was a hoax perpetuated by students from the nearby New Mexico Tech. Nevertheless, the case remains classified as unidentified by Project Blue Book. On December 5, 1945, a team of 5 Grumman TBF Avenger aircraft departed from a naval base for routine exercises. The planes flew over an area known as the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is a spot in the Atlantic Ocean from which boats and planes are said to have mysteriously disappeared. About an hour and a half after takeoff, the control tower received a message in which the pilot sounded disoriented and concerned. He said the compasses had gone out and he was trying to find the airport in Fort Lauderdale. This was the last thing that was said. After a while, more patrol planes were sent out to look for the 5 Grumman planes. The strange thing about this story is that they also disappeared in the same mysterious way and were never found. Scientists have no logical explanation for this. Other people believe a portal was open to another universe, or that it even has to do with aliens. On September 27, 1989, an alleged extraterrestrial encounter reportedly took place in Voronezh, a city in southwestern Russia. The incident garnered significant attention due to the number of witnesses, including children. According to accounts from multiple witnesses, a large object descended and landed in a park. The object was described as metallic and had a dome top,
Witnesses claimed that a hatch opened on this large-shaped object, revealing 3 strange beings. These beings were described as humanoid in appearance, about 10 feet or 3 meters tall, with large heads and glowing eyes. Furthermore, they were dressed in silver suits and moved in a robotic or mechanical manner. One of the witnesses reported that one of the beings held a small device that emitted a beam of light and briefly encased a boy in a small transparent sphere. Other people said they felt paralyzed or experienced a sense of fear when the UFO landed. Some witnesses also claimed to have seen a floating robotic device near the UFO.
The legend of the haunted Barbie doll on Pulau Ubin Island in Singapore tells the story of a young German girl who tragically lost her life and remained as a spirit on the island. The island is known for its natural beauty and is one of the last places in Singapore untouched by urban development. On this island stands a notable yellow shrine where people come to pray and offer sacrifices for gambling luck. However, the story dates back to the 1910s, when a British family resided on the island. The family had a young daughter who, out of fear, fled into the dense forest to escape approaching British troops. The girl disappeared into the darkness and was never seen again. Eventually, she was found, and as a somber act of respect, laborers covered her body with sand and adorned it with flowers. Over the years, local villagers have reported sightings of the girl's spirit, keeping the legend of the nameless girl on the island alive. In her honor, a shrine was erected, and peculiar offerings have been made, including the haunted Barbie doll. It's believed that the doll appeases her spirit.
On December 9, 1965, in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, USA, a UFO was reportedly seen by numerous witnesses streaking through the sky in several states, including Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Many described it as a bright, fiery object with a trailing tail. Witnesses reported that the object changed direction and appeared to descend towards the Kecksburg area, where some residents claimed to have witnessed it crash in a wooded area. Some likened it to an acorn or bell-shaped craft with a hieroglyphic-like marking on its surface. Others also report the object emitted a blue light and smoke. After the crash, there were reports of a presence of military and government personnel in the area. It's alleged that the military personnel wore radiation suits, quarantined the crash site, and removed the object on a flatbed truck. Officially, both the U.S. Air Force and NASA denied involvement in this incident. The Air Force initially stated that the sightings was caused by a meteorite breakup in the atmosphere, while NASA suggested it was likely the re-entry of a Russian satellite. However, these explanations were met with skepticism, and there's individuals who believe that this was a cover-up.
The Demon Core Incident is a tragic event in the history of nuclear physics that occurred in the mid-20th century. It was a spherical mass of plutonium-239, slightly larger than a tennis ball, used in the Manhattan Project. On August 21, 1945, the first fatal incident occurred at the Los Alamos Laboratory in New Mexico. Physicist Harry Daghlian accidentally dropped a tungsten carbide brick onto the core, causing the plutonium to go supercritical. This resulted in a burst of radiation that he absorbed, leading to his death 25 days later due to acute radiation sickness. Less than a year later, physicist Louis Slotin conducted an experiment at the Los Alamos Laboratory involving the core and beryllium reflector. While manually separating the two using a screwdriver, the screwdriver slipped, causing an immediate criticality incident. The core briefly went critical, releasing a burst of radiation. Luis reacted quickly, using his hand to separate the two, preventing a larger release of radiation. However, he received a lethal dose of radiation in the process.
Apollo 11 was the first successful mission to put the first humans on the moon, including astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. This happened on July 20th, 1969, and is said to have been watched live on television approximately by 600 million people. Since then, there's been conspiracy theories as to whether the moon landing really happened or not. One of the reasons is the lost tapes. In 2009, NASA told a press conference that they could not find the videotapes and audio and that they had most likely been erased. The story goes that in the early 80s there was a severe shortage of tapes, and so they had reused the tapes, which was normal to do at that time. Some articles write about that the moon landing footage still exists but in poorer quality, while others say that about 12,000 tapes have been lost from all kinds of different space missions. This next event isn't about UFOs, but did capture government attention, primarily due to the involvement of celebrities. The Varsity Blues scandal refers to a high-profile criminal case that came to light in March 2019 and involved fraudulent college admissions in the United States. A scandal was unveiled in which affluent parents, including celebrities and business people, used illegal means to secure admission for their children into universities. The mastermind behind the scheme was William Rick Singer. a college admissions consultant. He arranged fraudulent test scores and fabricated athletic profiles to make it appear that students were recruited as athletes, even if they had no prior athletic experience. Parents involved in the scandal paid substantial sums of money to this organization, which was a non-profit entity used to disguise the bribes as charitable donations. The scandal implicated various prominent individuals, including actresses Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin, who were among the most prominent defendants. The aftermath of the scandal led to numerous arrests, criminal prosecutions, and legal proceedings against those involved. It also sparked a nationwide conversation about privilege, justice, and flaws in the college admissions process.
Irish rock, also known as Uluru, holds a mysterious reputation in Australia. The massive sandstone monolith, located in the heart of the country, has long been considered sacred by the local Anangu people, who view it as a spiritual place. However, over the years, numerous tourists have taken rocks as souvenirs. Those who have taken rocks from the Uluru have often experienced a series of misfortunes and bad luck. For instance, there's a story of a man named Steve Hill who admitted to stealing a small rock but later returned it due to the negative consequences he encountered. He claimed to have experienced a series of accidents and had to undergo expensive repairs to his vehicle after taking the rock. Each year, the Uluru-Kata Tajuta National Park receives numerous packages containing rocks and sand sent back by remorseful tourists. Some individuals have waited for years, even decades, to return their stolen mementos. Sending back the rocks is seen as an attempt to seek forgiveness and alleviate the alleged curse. Under Australian law, visitors can face fines of up to $8,500 for removing rocks.
The Mantle UFO incident occurred on January 7, 1948, and is one of the early and well-known cases in UFO history. It involves the death of Captain Thomas F. Mantle, a pilot with the Kentucky Air National Guard, while pursuing an unidentified aerial object. On that day, the Kentucky State Police and the military base Fort Knox received reports of a large circular object in the sky. Thomas, along with other pilots, took off to pursue the object. According to the eyewitness reports, the aircraft climbed to a tremendous altitude during the pursuit of the object. Unfortunately, Thomas's plane crashed and he lost his life. The official cause of death was determined to be oxygen deprivation due to the high altitude of the aircraft. However, reports of the incident immediately led to speculation and controversy. The nature of the object that Thomas was pursuing remains a subject of debate. Initial reports suggested that it was a flying saucer or a UFO of extraterrestrial origin. However, later investigations by the U.S. Air Force concluded that Thomas was likely pursuing a weather balloon associated with a top-secret project. Do you believe that story?
Blucifer, also known as the Blue Mustang, is a large iconic sculpture located near Denver International Airport in Colorado, USA. The sculpture has gained notoriety due to its striking appearance, which some people find eerie and unsettling. Designed by artist Luis Jimenez, Blucifer is a rearing blue horse standing approximately 32 feet or 9.75 meters tall and weighing 8,820 pounds or 4,000 kilograms, featuring glowing red eyes. It was commissioned in 1993 as part of a public art project for the airport. However, during the creation of the sculpture, tragedy struck when Luis was killed in 2006 when part of the statue fell on him in his studio. Despite this tragic incident, it was decided to complete and install the sculpture as a tribute to the artist. Blucifer has sparked various interpretations and urban legends. Some people believe the sculpture carries a demonic presence due to its fierce stance, glowing eyes, and overall eerie appearance.
On October 21, 1978, an Australian pilot named Frederick Valentich was flying over Bay Strait, a strait that separates Tasmania from the Australian mainland. At one point, he informed the control tower that he was accompanied by another flying object about 300 meters above him. He said that it had a shiny metal surface with a green light on top. In his last transmission with the control tower, the pilot tells that it was not a plane but a UFO. Then there was a noise in the audio and the contact dropped. His plane was never found either, so the question is, what could have happened? UFOologists believe that he was taken by aliens in the UFO and that the green light is an important clue to this. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. In the early morning of September 19, 1976, several calls were made to the command post of the Iranian Air Force at Murabit International Airport, reporting strange objects in the sky. Witnesses described the object as bird-like or resembling a helicopter with a light. Initially, the Air Force Command dismissed the reports as stars, but upon further investigation, they dispatched an F-4 Phantom II fighter jet to investigate the object. The UFO was at a considerable distance, and despite the capabilities of the F-4, the pilot was unable to catch up. Eventually, the pilots attempted to intercept the object. but their instruments malfunctioned and communication was disrupted. However, the UFO was also observed on radar by ground control. As the pilots approached the object, it emitted a powerful beam of light that temporarily disabled their weapon and communication systems. The incident lasted for several minutes before the object rapidly ascended and disappeared. The incident was thoroughly investigated by both Iranian and American military officials, but remains a mystery to this day.
The statue of Black Aggie, originally known as Grief, is a legendary bronze sculpture that has gained a reputation for its eerie nature. A student of Augustus St. Gaudens created the statue at the request of General Felix Agnes and his wife for their memorial at Druid Ridge Cemetery in Maryland, USA. The statue was unveiled in 1907 and quickly became the subject of numerous chilling stories and urban legends. Black Aggie is a mourning female figure, draped in a cloak with the shroud covering her face. It was believed that anyone who looked into her eyes or sat on her lap at night would suffer severe consequences, including blindness, madness, or even premature death. One story tells of an initiation ritual of a college fraternity that required initiates to spend the night on the statue's lap. Allegedly, those who complete the challenge were driven to insanity or found dead the next morning. Another tale claims that the statue's eyes once glowed red, adding to its supernatural nature.
The Westall School UFO Encounter took place on April 6, 1966, in Melbourne, Australia, involving multiple witnesses, primarily students and teachers from Westall High School. The event is considered one of Australia's most significant UFO mysteries. On April 6, 1966, more than 300 students and staff at the school witnessed multiple unidentified flying objects silently flying through the sky before landing in a nearby field. During recess, students spotted a silver saucer-shaped object descending from the sky, estimated to be about twice the size of a family car. The UFO hovered briefly in the air before landing behind a row of trees in an open field known as the Grange. Many reported seeing one or more saucer-shaped objects performing rapid maneuvers. Students and teachers rushed outside to view the object, which remained on the ground briefly before taking off and disappearing. Witnesses also reported feeling intimidated in encounters with men in black suits after this incident.
The Conjured Chess is a famous piece of furniture associated with a curse and a series of premature deaths. The legend of the chess dates back to the 1830s and is believed to have originated in Kentucky. According to the legend, the chest was made of mahogany wood and was involved in a conjuring ritual performed by slaves. It's said that the curse placed on the chest resulted in a series of tragedies. The exact details of the curse and the summoning ritual vary depending on the source, but it's generally believed that the curse was intended to harm anyone who owned or came into contact with the chest. Over the years, the chest would have changed ownership multiple times, with each new owner experiencing misfortune and tragedy. There's also various accounts of the number of deaths associated with the chest, with some sources mentioning 16 victims and others 18. The victims were said to have suffered from various accidents, including illnesses and unexplained events.
The Hanging Garden of Babylon, according to the ancient Greeks, was a paradise with exotic plants and terraces surrounded by walls with towers. It's said to have been located about 80 kilometers south of present-day Baghdad in Iraq. The gardens are said to have been built about 606 to 562 BC. Nebuchadnezzar was the most powerful king of the Babylonian Empire, and he is said to have built the gardens to cheer up his wife, Amidis. It was supposed to help her get used to life in the Great Babylon. The Hanging Garden of Babylon were also one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, as mentioned by the Greek culture. It's unclear if this place ever existed, but if it did, it had completely disappeared today. So scientists think it's somewhere in Iraq, but where exactly is still a big mystery. The Belgian UFO Way refers to a series of sightings of triangular-shaped UFOs in Belgium between 1989 and 1990. Eyewitnesses reported seeing large black triangular objects in the sky with bright lights at each corner. These objects were described as silent and capable of remarkable maneuvers. Some witnesses also claimed to have seen smaller objects flying near the larger triangles. The Belgian military conducted an investigation, known as Operation Triangle, and officially acknowledged the sightings. They sent F-16 fighter jets to intercept the objects, but failed to obtain definitive proof. This event sparked interest from both the public and UFOologists, and it continues to be a subject of debate and speculation today. Skeptics suggest that the sightings may be misidentifications of conventional aircraft or experimental military aircraft. Advocates, however, argue that the wave represents a genuine phenomenon of unknown origin.
According to legend, the ballista balls are ancient projectiles used in ballista weapons during the Middle Ages. It's said that these artifacts carry a curse that brings 20 years of misfortune to anyone who steals or possesses the item. But how do you know it carries a curse? Well, the ballista balls were stolen in July 1995, and they were returned 20 years later in 2015. The origin of the curse is often attributed to their historical significance and the sacred nature of the artifacts. Ballista balls were highly valued in ancient warfare for their destructive power, making them objects of great importance. It's believed that the curse was placed on them to protect their sanctity and deter theft. The story of the curse gained notoriety when numerous stolen balls were returned, accompanied by tales of misfortune experienced by the thieves. The curse was said to manifest in various ways, including financial misfortune, personal tragedies, accidents, and other forms of calamity.
O Caso das Mascaras de Chumbo is an unsolved mystery that occurred in Brazil in 1966. The case involves the deaths of two electronic technicians, who were found under mysterious circumstances. On August 20th, 1966, a boy came across the bodies of Miguel and Manuel on Vietnam Hill, in Niterói, Rio de Janeiro. The technicians were lying side by side, dressed in formal suits, and wore strange lead masks over their eyes. The masks were said to have been made by the men themselves and had small eye holes, as if intentionally designed to cover only the eyes. Authorities discovered a notebook near the bodies with cryptic instructions that read, 1630, be at the agreed place. 1830, capsules. After the effect, protect metals, wait for the mask signal. These instructions added to the mystery surrounding the case. Autopsies revealed no signs of violence or external injuries on the bodies, ruling out foul play. However, the cause of death remained undetermined. The coroner speculated that the technicians may have ingested some form of poison, but no traces of poison were found in their bodies. Some believe that the men were involved in an occult or spiritual practice that required them to wear the lead masks, while others suggest that they may have been part of a secret experiment or encountered extraterrestrial beings.
The Lady of Lemba was discovered in the mid-19th century in the village of Lemba, located on the island of Cyprus. It's believed that the statue dates back to the Chalcolithic period, around 3000 BCE, making it one of the oldest known sculptures in the Mediterranean region. One of the most striking features of the Lady of Lemba is her unique dark color, which is attributed to the stone from which she's carved. The article suggests that the statue is made of a type of volcanic rock called basalt. This dark stone, combined with the appearance of the statue, adds to its aura of mystery. It's said that the statue was believed to possess supernatural powers and was used in ancient rituals and ceremonies. Those who encountered the statue were overwhelmed by a profound sense of awe and reverence. The Lady of Lemba is also believed to have had a darker side. The statue is associated with fertility rituals and was thought to have the power to bring both blessings and curses. Some stories suggest that those who did not treat the statue with respect or mistreated it would experience misfortune.
Lars Matank was a German man who went on vacation with some friends in Varna, a city in Bulgaria. He was involved in a fight with other tourists, and as a result, he could not fly home with his friends. He rented a cheap hotel room, and the next day, he reportedly sent his mother a message saying he felt unsafe and that 4 men were chasing him. A day later, you see Lars arrive at the airport and everything seems fine. A few minutes after, however, he runs out without his luggage. This event was all captured on the airport's security cameras. According to eyewitnesses, he is said to have eventually climbed over a fence and then ran into a nearby forest. Since then, no one's seen him, and it's a big mystery what exactly happened. The USS Nimitz UFO Incident is a highly significant UFO sighting that occurred in November 2004. The incident involved multiple personnel of the United States Navy encountering an unidentified flying object off the coast of San Diego, California. It occurred while the USS Nimitz, a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, and its associated strike group were conducting exercises. Crew members observed several unidentified aerial phenomena with extraordinary flight capabilities. These objects were tracked by advanced radar systems and visually observed by experienced military pilots. One of the most notable encounters involved Commander David Fravor, a Navy fighter pilot. David reported seeing a tic-tac-shaped object hovering above the ocean and exhibiting rapid and unpredictable movements. When he approached, the object reportedly accelerated and disappeared within seconds. The incident gained significant attention when it was publicly disclosed by the New York Times in 2017 and by former Blink-182 musician Tom DeLonge.
The remarkable 186-carat diamond has a history that spans centuries and continents. According to popular belief, the curse of the Koh-i-Noor specifically targets men who dare to possess it. Originally originating from Asia, the Koh-i-Noor diamond was once a precious possession of various rulers who believed it possessed immense power. However, the diamond's journey took a dark turn when it ended up in Britain through dubious legal means. Legends tell of kings and conquerors who met untimely ends, suffered political downfall, or experienced personal tragedies after possessing the diamond. The curse is believed to extend beyond the immediate wearer and affects the entire lineage for generations. Interestingly, the curse seems to spare women, as only female members of the British royal family have worn the diamond since it came into their possession. Queen Victoria, Queen Alexandra, Queen Mary, and Queen Elizabeth all chose to adorn themselves with the diamond, and each of them endured profound losses during their reigns. They outlived their husbands and experienced the sorrow of bearing their own children, suggesting that the curse of the Koh-i-Noor may have indirectly taken its toll.
The Falcon Lake Incident is a remarkable UFO encounter that took place on May 20th, 1967, near Falcon Lake, Manitoba, Canada. The incident involved a close encounter and subsequent physical injuries to Stefan McCulloch, a Canadian industrial mechanic. Stefan claimed that while prospecting for minerals near Falcon Lake, he saw two cigar-shaped objects descend from the sky. One of the objects landed nearby, and he approached it out of curiosity. As he got closer, he noticed that the object emitted a warm humming sound and had a hatch of numerous openings. After attempting to communicate with the beings inside, Stefan reportedly experienced a blast of hot air or gas that ignited his clothing. He suffered burns on his chest and abdomen, which exhibited a grid-like pattern. Following the incident, he sought medical attention, and his injuries were documented. Stefan was extensively interviewed by investigators from various agencies, including Royal Canadian Mounted Police and the Royal Canadian Air Force. Many authorities were involved in the case, but unfortunately, few answers have been obtained.
The set of the film, The Passion of Christ, was surrounded by a number of bizarre and unusual incidents, leading some to believe that the production was cursed. One of the most notable incidents involved lightning strikes. Lead actor Jim Caviezel, who portrayed Jesus in the film, claimed that he was struck by lightning not once, but twice while filming the Sermon on the Mount scene. Another crew member was reportedly struck by lightning on the set as well. In addition to the lightning strikes, other incidents and injuries occurred during production. Jim suffered a dislocated shoulder while carrying the heavy cross used in the film. He also experienced severe migraines as a result of working with one eye swollen shut for an extended period. Furthermore, the aftermath of the film's release seemed to bring further challenges for the actor. He claimed to face difficulties in his career, was blacklisted by Hollywood, and saw a decrease in opportunities. The Ark of the Covenant is a portable sacred chest in which the two stone slabs containing the Ten Commandments were kept. The chest was made of a special kind of wood, and the outside was covered with a layer of gold leaf. In the Hebrew Bible, it's described that the Ark of the Covenant was covered on all sides with gold, and it was supposed to be carried by two people. Furthermore, the chest would contain Aaron's staff. Aaron was Moses' brother, and the staff would be endowed with miraculous power. It would also contain a jar of manna, which was some sort of edible substance. The Ark of the Covenant is said to have disappeared when the Babylonians conquered Jerusalem in 587 BC. Since then, it's been unclear where the coffin is located. Some archaeologists believe that it's still somewhere in Jerusalem, while others say it's hidden in a church in the city of Axum in Ethiopia, and is said to be guarded by a single monk and no one else is allowed to enter the room. The Kollars UFO Flap refers to a series of UFO sightings and encounters that occurred in the coastal town of Kollars, Brazil, between 1977 and 1978. It began in October 1977, when residents of the town reported strange lights and unidentified flying objects in the sky. Witnesses described luminous spheres and dish-shaped craft that emitted beams of light towards them. Many reported physical effects, including burns, purportedly caused by the beams. As the sightings continued, the Brazilian Air Force became involved and launched an investigation known as Operation Saucer. The military sent a team of officers to collect evidence and interview witnesses. During the investigation, more than 80 people in Kollars claimed to have been targeted by the mysterious beams. They also reported a range of effects, including temporary paralysis, memory loss, and even blood drainage. Some residents were so fearful that they began wearing metal plates and carrying mirrors to protect themselves. La Pascualita, also known as the Corpse Bride Mannequin, is a famous and eerie display at La Popular Bridal Shop in Chihuahua, Mexico. The mannequin has gained notoriety due to its striking lifelike appearance and the mysterious rumors surrounding its origin. According to local legend, La Pascualita strongly resembles the deceased daughter of the shop's original owner. The story goes that she was created in the 1930s by a skilled craftsman. It's said that the lifelike appearance and hauntingly realistic features were achieved by using a preserved human corpse. The daughter of the shop owner tragically passed away on her wedding day. Overwhelmed by grief, he allegedly decided to preserve his daughter's body and display it in the bridal shop as a tribute. Nevertheless, the legend of La Pascualita has endured over the years, drawing curious visitors and tourists to the bridal shop. Many people are fascinated by the mannequin's striking resemblance to a living person, with her glass eyes and lifelike facial features.
In July 2023, the United States Congress held a historic hearing to discuss the increasing evidence surrounding unidentified flying objects and their potential implications. The hearing was prompted by a series of recent UFO sightings and encounters reported by credible sources, including military personnel, pilots, and government officials. Several witnesses presented compelling evidence, including photos, videos, and radar data. Some witnesses claim that the government possesses non-human biological material and has withheld information about UFOs. One of the key witnesses at the hearing was David Grush, a former Department of Defense employee and whistleblower. He testified alongside former military pilots and shared their own experiences with UFO sightings and encounters. During the hearing, witnesses and lawmakers expressed concerns about the potential national security implications of these unidentified flying objects. They discussed the need to understand their capabilities and intentions, as they could pose a threat to airspace integrity and national defense. However, this does not prove the existence of aliens. Do you believe that aliens have existed on Earth? Let me know in the comments.
The phone number 0888-888-888 has gained notoriety as a cursed Bulgarian phone number due to the unfortunate fate of its 3 consecutive owners. According to urban legend, the individuals to whom this number was assigned met a tragic end within a period of 10 years. The first owner of the number reportedly died of cancer in 2001. This laid the foundation for the mysterious reputation attached to the phone number. The subsequent owners of the number were both crime bosses who met a violent demise. Allegedly, the second owner was shot, adding to the mystery surrounding the phone number. The similarities between the second and third owners of the number drew attention and added to the growing legend of the cursed Bulgarian phone number. Many began to believe that the number itself possessed some malevolent force. Some even went as far as to suggest that the number was cursed and brought a dark fate to anyone who dared to use it.
A plane called PanAmerican Flight 914 flew from New York to Miami, Florida on July 2, 1955. After several hours, it should have landed at the airport, but was nowhere to be seen. According to the control tower, it would have disappeared from the radar in midair. The plane flew a little bit over the Atlantic Ocean, so an investigation was started, but they couldn't find anything. So it remained a big mystery until 37 years later. In 1992, a plane landed in Caracas, Venezuela. From nowhere, a plane flew up on the radar over the control tower. The pilot of the plane said, "Where are we?" After which he said, "This is PanAmerican Flight 914, and I need clearance at 9 o'clock in the morning on July 2, 1955. The control tower found the message strange, but allowed the plane to land safely. Then the control tower couldn't resist and asked the pilot, "Did you know that it was 1992 and not 1955? The pilot was shocked and suddenly decided to fly away again without any explanation. The strange thing about this is that the plane eventually disappeared from the radar again completely. This story is said by many people to have been fiction, but others believe that this story is proof of time travel. The disappearance of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 on March 8, 2014 remains one of the most enigmatic aviation mysteries in modern history. The flight with 239 passengers and crew members on board vanished from radar screens during the routine flight from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia to Beijing, China. The aircraft last had contact with air traffic control approximately 38 minutes after takeoff. It then deviated from its planned route and turned back towards the Malaysian peninsula before disappearing entirely. Extensive search and rescue operations were launched, covering large areas of the Indian Ocean and Southeast Asia. But initially, no confirmed wreckage or debris from the plane was ever found. The absence of tangible evidence, combined with conflicting reports and speculative theories, led to significant public interest and speculation surrounding the disappearance. In the years following the incident, some debris, purportedly from MH370, was found in various locations, primarily along the western coast of the Indian Ocean. The discovery of the debris confirmed that the plane had indeed crashed, but the precise circumstances and causes of the disappearance remained unclear.
Of all things that could be haunted, a car is not the first thing that comes to mind. The Golden Eagle 1964 Dodge Coronet 330 limited edition has become infamous due to its alleged role in a series of tragic events. Over the years, numerous reports and stories have circulated, suggesting that the car is responsible for the premature deaths of those who have owned it or come into contact with it. At least 14 people have fallen victim to this car, making it one of the most haunted cars ever. Of the 14 incidents, 3 involved police officers while behind the wheel. That was the final straw. In possession of the police, they decided to get rid of the car and gave it to a local family named the Allens. More victims were struck by lightning or worse. There is also a story of a child touching the car in 2008 and allegedly going insane afterwards. Richard Sierra is an American sculptor known for his 42-ton artwork called Equal Parallel Benghazi. He is said to have created it in 1986 for the Reina Sofia Museum located in Madrid, Spain. On November 25, 1990, the enormous artwork was stored in a warehouse because renovations needed to be done. When the museum director wanted to put the artwork back a few years later, it could not be found. Even after a major investigation was done, no clues could be found as to how the artwork had disappeared. In 2006, Richard Sierra decided to make a replica of the original, and had it on display again at the museum since 2009. However, the mystery was never solved, and the original artwork was never found. The Donner Party was a group of pioneers who set out for California in 1846. Led by George Donner and James F. Reed, the group consisted of several families seeking a better life in the West. However, they faced numerous challenges and became stranded in the Sierra Nevada mountains due to a combination of bad weather, poor decision-making, and delays during their journey. Harsh winter conditions and lack of food took their toll. They were trapped in the mountains for months, enduring extreme cold, hunger, and disease. As supplies ran out and hope dwindled, some members of the group resorted to cannibalism to survive. Patty Reed was a young girl who was a member of the Donner Party. As the group faced dire circumstances, Patty's family asked her to discard her toys to lighten the load and increase their chance of survival. However, Patty secretly kept a small dollhouse hidden in her skirt. Patty Reed's doll was eventually donated to the fort by her family. Today, the doll is displayed in a glass case at Sutter's Fort, a historical monument in Sacramento, California.
The Roswell UFO Incident is perhaps the most famous and controversial UFO case in history. It occurred in early July 1947, when an unidentified object crashed on a ranch near Roswell, New Mexico, sparking national attention and fueling speculation about extraterrestrial life. Initially, the U.S. Army Air Force issued a press release, stating that they had recovered a flying disc. However, within hours, the military retracted the statement and claimed that the recovered object was merely a weather balloon. Over the years, conflicting reports and conspiracy theories emerged, suggesting that the military had covered up the true nature of this crash, and that the recovered debris was actually an extraterrestrial spacecraft. In the decades that followed, the Roswell incident became a focal point for UFO enthusiasts, researchers, and skeptics alike. It was investigated by various civilian and military organizations, and numerous books, documentaries, and media reports explored the subject. However, the US government continues to assert that the Roswell crash was related to a weather balloon used in top-secret projects called the Project Mogul, designed to detect Soviet nuclear tests. Have you ever seen a UFO or experienced something unexplained? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos we've made, click one on the screen or take a look at the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.